Yeah. All right, the Committee on House Administration will come to order. I note that a quorum is present. Without objection, the chair is authorized to declare recess at any time. Today, I want to welcome all of you to the Committee on House Administration's organizational meeting for the 119th Congress. I'd like to welcome back my friend and colleague, Ranking Member Mr. Morelli, and my Democratic colleagues. I'm excited to continue to work with all of you. Also welcome back our Republican colleagues, Mr. Barry Loudermilk, Mr. Morgan Griffith, Congressman Greg Murphy, Congresswoman Stephanie Bice, Congressman Mike Carey, and Congresswoman Laura Lee. Thank you for all your hard work the past Congress, and look forward to the hard work that is coming ahead during the next 2 years on the 119th. I would also like to welcome our new members, Congresswoman Mary Miller of Illinois and Congresswoman Julie Johnson from Texas. Ms. Miller from Illinois has been a friend and a strong supporter of common sense election integrity measures that will strengthen our election laws and increase confidence in our elections. And we're excited, Ms. Miller, that you're able and willing to join our committee and look forward to your work in particular as it relates to election integrity during this Congress. Ms. Julie Johnson from Texas. We just had a conversation about the rivalry between the Texas and Dallas Cowboys and the Green Bay Packers, and with today's weather, I'm reminded, of course, of the 1967 Ice Bowl, which we both might be reminded that the Green Bay Packers defeated the Dallas Cowboys 21-17 on a frigid day. But we look forward to your participation in the hearing as well. We welcome both of you to the committee. The Committee on House Administration was incredibly productive last Congress, during the 118th Congress. We held 39 full committee and subcommittee hearings last Congress on issues including legislative oversight, election integrity, legislative branch modernization, artificial intelligence capabilities, and other topics. We passed the COCO Act in a nonpartisan fashion and got it signed into law, ensuring congressional election observers are able to fairly and accurately observe elections across the country. I'm proud of what we've been able to accomplish as a committee. However, our work is far from over. We still have more we can do to strengthen our election integrity and increase Americans' confidence in our elections. We'll continue working to make the legislative branch more cost-effective and efficient. Most importantly, we'll continue to enhance our campus security to ensure the Capitol is safe and accessible for all Americans. I look forward to working alongside my colleagues to ensure a successful and productive 119th Congress. As I said, our work is just beginning. I'll now recognize the ranking member, Mr. Morelli, for 5 minutes for the purpose of offering an opening statement.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First, congratulations on your reappointment as chair of the House Administration Committee. We're grateful to you for all your work, and thanks for calling this meeting so we can formally begin the process and the important work of this committee. So today we'll consider I'm not sure if it's a number of or if we compile them all into a single resolution, but I know that are critical to the operation of the House. I guess we're going to take them all up perhaps as one vote, all the resolutions. But before we get to that, I want to officially thank and welcome all of my colleagues back to the committee. Ms. Miller, welcome. And it's great to have you join us. And I do want to also acknowledge Representative Terry Sewell and Representative Norma Torres, our two members who have served in the past. Ms. Sewell, of course, from Alabama, and Ms. Torres from California, who sadly, I think, as Ms. Bice is at the Appropriations Committee, but is excited to continue, and want to make sure that we particularly keep our thoughts and prayers for the people in California where Ms. Torres represents. As subcommittee leaders on our side, both Ms. Sewell and Torres served this committee with integrity and distinction last Congress, and I look forward to working with both of them. I also want to welcome on our side a fellow former state legislator, Ms. Johnson, who served in the State House in Texas, and welcome her both to the House of Representatives and certainly to our committee. I think it's rare on our side that a first-term member gets appointed to a leadership committee, but I think it speaks to Julie's experience and judgment that Leader Jeffries has asked her to serve with us so early in her tenure. The 118th Congress was productive for this committee, and I thank you, Mr. Chairman, for that. While we had our disagreements, some more entrenched perhaps than others, we also delivered bipartisan wins for the House and for the American people. And I'm eager to continue that fruitful relationship in the 119th Congress as we tackle the diverse range of issues we are charged with overseeing. Through the committee's jurisdiction over the administration of all federal elections, we have a solemn duty to preserve, protect, and defend the sanctity of American democracy, and we must ensure that every American is able to cast a free and fair ballot. Our nation does well only when everyone participates, but will falter if we elevate the wealthy, the well-off, and the well-connected above our friends, neighbors, and the countless working Americans that have made this country a shining city on the hill. It's also incumbent upon all of us to ensure the House is a safe and inclusive place to work for members and staff. And while we have made considerable strides to this end in recent Congresses, as evident in the Workplace Rights Resolution we will consider today, we must still actively work to preserve and to expand on those achievements. The sanctity of this institution is among our most critical missions, and I know we all take that very, very seriously. To that end, I again invite the majority to work with us on bipartisan oversight of the Capitol Police, Capitol Complex security, and the safety of members and staff. And to a certain extent, we were certainly able to do that at the full committee level during the 118th Congress, and I'm grateful to Chairman Stile and the full committee staff for their partnership in these efforts. This is especially important given President Trump's most recent actions freeing violent felons who assaulted police officers in our Capitol, allowing them into these halls back and sending them back into their districts. And I urge the committee in the strongest terms, take immediate action to address this new threat as it is happening. It is my hope that the 119th Congress, we can spend meaningful time ensuring the mental health, wellness, and morale of the Capitol Police, including continued development of the Howie Liebengood Center for Wellness and addressing systemic deficiencies in the force, such as officer training and recruitment, which I know they continue to struggle with. We are also not just responsible for the physical security, but also cyber defenses as well. And as the use and advancement of artificial intelligence expands dramatically, we must be prudent and thoughtful in its use in the legislative branch. And throughout the 118th Congress, this committee, again, thank you, Mr. Chairman, for that, we worked in a bipartisan manner to advance the implementation of AI technology. So I'm committed to continuing this effort, striving for a more efficient and effective House, expanding the renewed focus on responsibly expanding the use of AI across member offices, committees, and institutional partners. Our policies must adequately protect sensitive data, fortify the House network, and ensure staff are trained on the potential dangers of AI. And we'll also serve as guardians of the historical record. So we have much work to do. It's my hope that we can build on the bipartisan groundwork we laid last Congress and keep the best interests of our constituents and institution at the forefront of our efforts. Again, let me thank you, Mr. Chairman, and your great staff for the bipartisan work and the cooperation. We look forward to that again. I just note as a historical note, I was actually alive in 1967 and watched the game on television, so I don't believe you were actually on the planet yet. We were certainly anticipating, your arrival, but I actually watched the game. I remember it well. So with that, I'll yield back.
The gentleman yields back. I've watched the game, but I did not watch it live. That is inaccurate. I'm willing to yield to the gentleman, Ms. Johnson.
Mr. Chairman, just let the record reflect that I would hope that Ranking Member Morale would be on the Cowboys side of this. I am the Democrat on
I'm
the
a Browns
side
fan.
of
That's
this.
the worst of all things. So
I would like to just put that out there. And thank you so much for welcoming me so nicely to the committee.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, if I might.
I will yield to
It's
my
about
colleague,
the ice
Mr.
bowl.
Griffith.
It's about the ice bowl, Mr. Chairman. I happen to represent Carroll Dale, who was from Wise County, was on the 1967 Packers team, was there, and it came home to coach football at UVA Wise. He's now retired, but the football stadium at his high school is named for him, and he was a big part of the Packers organization in the 60s.
The chair will yield to anyone else who would like to say a positive statement about the Green Bay Packers. I'm not sure Ms. Miller can do that, being from Illinois, but we'll put you on the spot. No, in a serious sense. Back to our business. I'll now call up Committee Resolution 119-1 through 119-8 to be considered en bloc. Committee Resolution 119-1 is the rules of the Committee on House Administration for the 119th Congress. Committee Resolution 119-2 appoints the majority members to the subcommittees. Rep. Laurel Lee will serve as chair of the Subcommittee on Elections. Rep. Stephanie Bice will serve as the chair of the Subcommittee on Modernization and Innovation. Committee Resolution 119-3 appoints the minority members to the subcommittee. Rep. Terry Sewell will serve as the ranking member of the Subcommittee on Elections, and Rep. Norma Torres will serve as the ranking member on the Subcommittee on Modernization and Innovation. Committee Resolution 119-4 adopts the parking policy for the 119th Congress. Committee Resolution 119-5 promulgates regulations regarding mandatory anti-harassment and anti-discrimination policies for House offices. Committee Resolution 119-6 promulgates regulations regarding displaying a statement of rights and protections provided to House employees. Committee Resolution 119-7 implements the House Retention Through Education Advancement Program known as REAP. Committee Resolution 119-8 amends the eligible congressional member organizational handbook. I'll now recognize the ranking member, Ms. Morelli, if he'd like to give a statement on these resolutions.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I largely support the resolutions contained within the en bloc package as drafted, and I'll urge my colleagues on our side to do the same, but I would like to spend just a few moments talking about some procedural protections I would like the committee to consider as we move forward in the 119th Congress. Protection of the rights of the minority, regardless of which party holds the gavel, has been a fundamental principle of the House since its inception. Robust, informed debate not only makes for good policy, but it makes for a better overall committee. To that end, I would respectfully ask that the committee endeavor to enforce requirements for the advanced submission of majority witness testimony to allow for better development of member questions. Too often last Congress, witnesses failed to submit their written testimony in a timely manner, sometimes not submitting at all, which really hindered our preparation and making for a less informed hearing and thus a deficient committee record. So I would just encourage that our staffs on both sides work tirelessly on these proceedings, and delayed testimony only makes it harder for them to do their jobs. Secondly, it's long been the tradition of the committee to require a majority vote of the committee's members to authorize the issuance of a subpoena. Reasons for that are simple. Congress's power to compel is mighty and must be used judiciously, and after debate, requiring bipartisan consideration achieves that end. So I ask you to use your discretion as chair to consult with me as the ranking member prior to issuing any subpoenas as much as possible. Obviously, it's not always possible, but and to provide us a reasonable amount of notice for the committees, to the committee's minority prior to the issuance of any of those subpoenas. They're modest suggestions consistent with, I think, not only the committee's precedent, but also the manner in which you've conducted this, which is in a bipartisan fashion. So I think they would serve us well as we begin our work here. With that, I support the resolutions. I welcome our ranking members on the subcommittee. Ms. Sewell, Ms. Johnson will serve on that subcommittee as well on elections, and Ms. Torres and I will serve as members on modernization and innovation. And I do again support these resolutions considered en bloc, and I urge my colleagues to do the same. And with that, I yield back.
The gentleman yields back. Appreciate the comments, and we'll continue to work to improve operations on the committee. The clerk will please report the resolutions.
Committee Resolution 119.
Without objection, the reading of the resolutions is dispensed with. Also without objection, the resolution shall be considered as read and open to amendment at any point. Does any member seek recognition? I now ask unanimous consent that these resolutions be considered in block. Hearing no objection, the committee will consider the resolution in block, and the question now occurs on the resolution. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, no. In the opinion of the chairs, the ayes have it, and the resolutions are agreed to. Without objection, a motion to reconsider is laid upon the table. According to Rule 1P, I appoint Rep. Laurel Lee as Vice Chair of the full committee. In accordance with Rule 14B of the rules of the committee, I now appoint Kristen Monterosso as the clerk. I request unanimous consent that the two letters stating the appointments of the clerk and vice chair be entered into the record. A copy of these letters will be made available to all committee members. This concludes all the matters before the committee, unless any of the others have any comments. Without objection, the staff is authorized to make necessary technical and conforming changes. If there's no further business, I want to thank the members for their participation. Without objection, the Committee on House Administration stands adjourned.